When you get back to the car with your collected samples, pour out the water in the bucket until it is at the dark Sharpie line. Place the salinity and DO probes in the water to soak, making sure that the wider portion of the probes next to the cord is not immersed in the water to avoid seawater getting into the electronics. Before you put the pH probe in the water, rinse the probe first with tap water and then distilled water. And then dry the probe with Kim wipes. This step is important because the pH probe was stored in a concentrated KCl solution which could contaminate the water. Once all of the probes are in the bucket, soak them for at least 2 minutes before taking measurements. While you're waiting, you can plug the probes into the meter and also get things ready to do turbidity measurements, but that will be on another instruction video. First, plug in the salinity and DO probes. Accurate DO readings depend upon the salinity of the water, so you must always have both of these probes connected at the same time. Plug the blue cord above the green button and the green cord above the blue button. By doing this, you'll ensure that the readings align with the order on the datasheet. If cords are not plugged in this manner, use the units of each measurement to identify which parameter is which. After 2 minutes, turn on the meter and make sure that you see salinity, ppt, and temperature, degrees Celsius, as well as the DO value, milligrams per liter, and the DO percent saturation number, which is a percentage. Hold the probe so that they aren't touching the bottom or the sides of the bucket. While holding the probe still, press the read button and wait until the measurements are completed, which is indicated by a little lock symbol next to the probe data. Once the values have stabilized and locked, have one person read these values out loud and one person record them. Make sure that the person recording repeats the values back to the person who is taking the readings so that the correct numbers are written down. All 3 probes will read the temperature of the water sample. However, make sure that you record temperature from the salinity probe to maintain consistency in data collection. This value should be the temperature adjacent to the salinity reading, or PPT, or on the top right of the screen if probes are plugged in as specified earlier. After recording the temperature, salinity, DO, and DO percent, unplug the salinity and DO probes and plug in the pH probe. Please note that only the outside ports are for probes and the middle port is for the meter wall charger. Plug the pH probe into either of the probe ports. Hold the pH probe away from the bottom and the sides of the bucket and press read. Make sure that the person recording repeats the values back to the person who is taking the readings so that the correct numbers are written down once again. After all the values have been recorded, rinse all the probes with tap and then distilled water. While rinsing, place the plug end of the probes behind your back and the sensors in front of your chest. This prevents water from getting into the electrical part of the probes. Rinsing the probes well is very important. Salt water is corrosive, and to prolong the life of the probes, we really need to rinse them well. Do not skimp on using up the water that has been provided for the rinsing process. Dry all of the probes with Kim wipes and then tap the sensor side of the probe gently on your Kim wipe covered palm to ensure excess water is removed. Then place the pH probe back into the KCl vial and tighten so no solution spills out. Place the probes in a secure place for transport to the next site where they will be ready to use without further rinsing.